As the United States is now in its 251st year, we're in that 251st year now. We have to come together, I believe, and agree about reality to really have a shot at moving forward successfully. And the reality is that this entire America 250 celebration that Donald Trump put together has been a dramatic failure. It has been a failure, I believe, on two fronts. The first front is the events themselves. MAGA billed Saturday's 4th of July fireworks show in DC as the biggest in history. Now, usually when Trump and his people call something the biggest in history, it's a straight up brazen lie. Let's imagine for a second that it's true, that Saturday's fireworks display really was the biggest fireworks show in history. It did, after all, pollute the air so badly that air quality alerts went up in DC because of what it did to the sky. Okay, only 150,000 people showed up. By Trump's claims, he says that that's the number of people at his speech, but it wasn't. But let's say 150,000 people showed up to the fireworks display. Back in 1976, the bicentennial, the U.S. turning 200 years old, when the population was only 218 million people, 500,000 people went to the D.C. fireworks show. So if you look at a percentage basis, 0.23% of the population went to the fireworks show in 1976 versus 0.04% for Trump's on Saturday. Almost 6 times bigger proportionally in 1976. Trump's big state fair was an even bigger embarrassment. If you include World Cup parties in DC, the entire 16-day fair supposedly attracted just 200,000 people. That's like 12,000 people a day in a country of 350 million. And a whole bunch of those people were only there to watch the World Cup games, not for the state fair. Now, in comparison, 1.6 million people come to DC every year to see the cherry blossom trees. 1.2 million people come out for DC Pride. So on the numbers, it was a failure. Fine, that's very easy. That's the simple analysis. But there's a second layer here, which is that Trump and MAGA attempted to co-opt the 4th of July, which is what I think is the worst part of all of this. At a party over the weekend with some friends, someone was telling me, I put out for the holiday, I put out a big American flag and I posted it to my social media. And my friend says, another friend contacted me and said, what, are you a Trump supporter now with that flag? And my friend had this realization, and it's the realization that they want those symbols, the flags on the 4th and patriotism, to be indicative of MAGA. And not only does the right want to seize those symbols, even people on the left now go, oh, what, you got a flag, you must support Trump. But that is not the way that it has to be. We don't have to let them co-opt the holiday and the flag and patriotism. They tried to do it under Bush during the Iraq War. What, you don't support the troops because you don't support this war? Yeah, I support the troops by opposing ill-advised wars based on faulty or even maybe downright fraudulent intelligence. That's supporting the troops, not sending them into an ill-advised war that we're only into because of bogus intelligence. And Trump made the mistake of making the 4th of July about Trump. And once he personalized the event, his state fair, his speech, his reflecting pool, fireworks, and all of this stuff, the success or failure of the event started to become a referendum on Trump. And Trump's got 30% approval, 27% approval on the economy. So that's risky. Now, I think that it's important that we all restate patriotic symbols don't belong to any political movement. The American flag isn't MAGA's flag. The 4th of July isn't a MAGA holiday. These are national symbols and they belong to everybody. And if your political movement convinces people that displaying an American flag is an endorsement of a particular politician, you're shrinking patriotism instead of expanding it. Every president before Donald Trump understood these milestone celebrations should unite Americans. Trump turns the anniversary of the country into a campaign rally centered on himself. How long can he speak? and he says this was rigged and that was rigged and tells all these lies, and does an entire state fair that feels really like a low rent MAGA rally that lasted 16 days. And so it failed. And the irony of all of it is a celebration intended to showcase Trump's popularity ended up highlighting the limits of Trump's popularity. You promise the greatest celebration in American history. People naturally compare the turnout to history, and it really doesn't compare well. So I am not glad that what could have been a unifying celebration of a milestone for the country, 250 years, failed so miserably and failed to unite people. That doesn't make me happy. I wish that we could have had something on the 4th of July that would have united people. But I am glad that Donald Trump making it partisan, making it about himself, talking about communists and 17 trillion and all this different stuff. I'm glad that that did not work to get people out and that people rejected it and said, no, we are not going to do that. So we're going to move on from this. I'm glad to be able to turn the page on Trump's failed 250th celebration. I'm glad to be able to turn the page on Trump's failed state fair. They were all global humiliations, but it could have been done in a way that would have united the country. Trump just isn't capable of doing it. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.